Now, this was put out by the Commonwealth Foundation, verified through the Department of Education. In 2010, 34,300 students left, dropped out of school. Okay? So let's look at that. 34,000. If we divide that by the classroom size, how many teachers should have been left go? 2,500, roughly. Okay? Between 1995 and 2010, student enrollment dropped by 35,500. That's another 5,000 teachers that should have been let go. But instead of letting them teachers go, they hired 35,821, which totals what shouldn't have been there, 45,000. Now you take 45,000 and let's use the starting salary plus benefits of $60,000. How much were you all overcharged? I had a senator figure that out. $10 billion for uncalled for staffing. Now, if you compare that with, and this also comes from the Department of Education, the failing grades, the percentage of students proficient in reading and math declined for 4th, 8th, and 11th grade students. With all the money, all the additional staffers, and they're still not proficient. That the ratings dropped. Now, realistically, if these ratings drop, is this your fault? No. The problem is in the educational system. Another piece that was sent out by the Budget and Policy Center, cuts to state funding government school tax reduce overall state employment growth. In other words, what they're proposing is, because they laid off these people, this is going to hurt the growth of Pennsylvania. I have a question for you. Who pays their salaries? You do. So in order to pay these salaries, they have to take the money from you. And like the senator agreed with me, this is bogus because the system took $10 billion from you that you should have been spending. And that is what would have drove the economy. And that's part of some of what's going on here now. Some of these reports are. Out-migration. Because of taxes, from 2000 to 2010, the state of Pennsylvania had a net loss of 77,184 taxpayers with lost revenues of $4.2 billion. Now, my question is, would that revenue been better off in Pennsylvania or in another state? Okay? Why can't the politicians think about how to develop an economy instead of only coming up with how to tax you more? Now, what's interesting about this report is, I'm going to get off the subject just a little bit, 120,923 families left Pennsylvania and went to right-to-work states, taking with them $9.1 billion worth of revenue. What does this mean? This means that the right-to-work states are doing what's right, and here they're doing what's wrong. They want to talk about analysis of the different states and all of that. Market Center, George Mason University, analyzed all 50 states. Guess where Pennsylvania is? at the bottom. Okay?
Analyze for what?
Huh?
Analyze for what?
Okay? The one analysis they did is rating of state by cash solvency. Okay? Do they have the money to pay the mandatory payments that they need? Pennsylvania's been 47 plus 50. Why? Because of the pensions. Now, I want to mention something here about the pensions. Now, they're supposed to be good, they're supposed to be safe and secure, right? In an analysis that I found, which hurts you and hurts everybody that belongs to it, Pennsylvania pensions are one of the most risky in all the states because of investing in what they call private markets, unregistered securities, private entities. 23.1% of the SERS investments are in unregistered securities. And that is the reason, between 2008 and 2012, the SERS union themselves, who should have not lost any money, lost $19.1 billion that they want you to be responsible for.
Isn't that their union that did that to them?
That is right on the SERS website. That's where I got the information from.
And they want us people who lost money as well to fund their loss.
Right.
Yeah.
See, but being in financial planning during that period of time, I have not had one client that lost money even when they were taking the 6% withdrawal. Okay? Not one client during that period of time. So I understand them finances.
We only have about 10-15 minutes left. Can you give us some of the main provisions of 76? You've touched on a couple of things, but
Okay.
how is that funding the schools?
Okay.
The property tax?
Okay. I'll do that. There's a couple handouts back there, foreclosures. This is the most current. The thing that to take a look at, if you pick up one of these, is the percentages of increases in the last 12 months. Okay? Let me see if there's anything critical here. We talked about that. Talked about that. Okay.
Does that have the number of foreclosures in Bucks?
Yes.
Is that by county?
Bucks County, as of 4/4/2013, there was 15,352. Okay. Since then, through 3/24, there's been an increase of 31.55%. It's up 4,844. As of 3/24, there was 20,196 foreclosure notices issued. And that's a lot for that county. Okay. 76. Is it a perfect bill? The answer is no. But it is 1,000 times better than what we have. There's things in the bill from a financial point of view I disagree with. But I do agree with not allowing the school districts to raise your taxes above the cost of living in the state. I agree with that. That is just common sense. 76 stops that. 76 also stops, which I mentioned earlier, the borrowing of the money. Okay?
After they pay off the current debt, then in order to incur more debt,
They must come to you, in a referendum, and you must vote yes or no. Okay? But also in the referendum, it states, this is what it's going to cost each one of you, and this is when the debt goes away. Now, is that going to totally work forever? No. But is it better than what we have? Yeah. The bottom line is, what the state has done is given the school district an open line of credit to do what they want when they want. And there's no ceiling on it. They don't budget within their means.
Yeah. How do you answer the opponents that point to the IFO report and say the numbers don't match? And wasn't there a second revised IFO report that actually shows that they do match?
Yes, there was 2 reports. One was actually done on 1776, which was really bad. The current IFO report basically stated there was going to be a shortfall. Okay? If, and they don't say this in the bill, if they don't put the full bill in place. Okay? The IFO report says that there's going to be a $2.5 billion shortfall, okay, over the next 10 years if we put this collection in, but we don't put the cap on the spending in. If they put the cap on the spending in, and based off of the Texas analysis, and I confirmed this with House member Jim Cox. He's the one who drafted 76. Okay? I said to Jim, this IFO report is wrong because it doesn't take into consideration the growth in the state, what's going to happen with the money. They specifically state in several instances, we don't know what they're going to do with the money. We don't know what the people are going to do with it, so we're not going to count it. Okay? The inflation rate used in the IFO report is the history of the spending. That's how they calculate it short. But if we reduce the inflation rate to the schools, or the payment rate increase to the schools, from 6% down to 3%, we're going to spend a lot less money. But they don't calculate that in there. But in talking with Jim Cox and Senator Bench, they both agreed. We put 76 into effect the way it's written, and we will have a $3 to $5 billion surplus in 5 years. Because you are going to spend that money that the IFO report says we don't know about. Okay? Which is going to drive the economy, which is going to cause more sales tax, which is going to cause more people to go back to work, and it's going to cause the machine to start to roll. During the conversation I had with Jim Cox, who was the sponsor of the bill, he agreed, $3 to $5 billion surplus. I believe it'll be more. Okay, and the reason I'm going to say that, and I want to get back to 76, is when George Bush gave you the $600 rebate when the economy was crashing, what did it do to the federal economy? It surged. One $600 payment to everybody in the country. The average school tax per person is $3,000. What difference is that going to make when everybody in this room doesn't have to spend $3,000 every year? It's going to continue to force this economy to move. And what is going to happen, the businesses are going to want to move into the state. Set up shop. Okay? Have any of you heard of the KOZ plans? Keystone Opportunity Zones. Keystone Opportunity Zones is where the federal government or the state government decides that we're going to let businesses build here and we're going to let them be exempt from taxes. Okay? And they say, this is a great, wonderful thing. It creates jobs. Well, if it does, make the whole state KOZ and remove all the property taxes. Why do they have to just target to benefit certain people and make the other people pay for it? Makes no sense. 76. The funding would be exactly the same as the school district received before. There would be no cuts. Do I think that's wrong? Yes, I think there should be cuts. To go to the wasteful spending. Okay? Leave it alone now. They're getting the same money. They're going to get an increase every year. But they're not going to get what they want. So now by controlling this spending, what have we done to the school district? You can't raise our taxes by 6%, you're only going to get 3%. They're going to have to start living within their means. Okay? Something else it does. The schools use you against the legislators. Right? And we have the unions out here. By taking you out of the picture, now we have a three-legged stool. We have the unions fighting with the legislators, fighting with the schools. They can't come and say, well, we're just going to tax you all. Which starts to put a noose around the unions. I've been hearing a lot about prevailing wage, right? Or paycheck protection. If we put this noose around the unions, isn't it going to be easier to get some of these other things passed that really should be? Okay? Maybe the school district would have to confront the cost to pay this money to the unions. The accounting cost. They would have to come up with that. Oh, that could be cut. Okay?
What is the status of this bill? Where is it, and when can it be voted on?
Okay. 76 has gone through the Senate meeting with the amendments. Okay? That meeting went very well. From what I understand, the bill is supposed to be in the process of being voted on in the Finance Committee, then go to I can't think of the committee. Supposed to go to another committee, and then come back, and then come out for a total vote. Okay? Right now, we have 26 co-sponsors, 13 Democrats, 13 Republicans. Okay? I'll be with you in a second. One of the things I've heard is there is senators that will vote for this bill that have not co-sponsored. They believe in the bill. They know it would work. They know it would fix the problems. But if they co-sponsored the bill, they live in areas that some of the people there don't like that and don't want that, even though it's best for them. Yes, sir?
I just want to mention that it's in the Finance Committee, and I forget who was in charge of the Finance Committee, but I've been in touch with somebody who is fervently trying to pass this for years and getting signatures. And the fellow will not put it out on the floor for a vote, the head of the Finance Committee, unless he really pushed. And so far, none of our elected officials, at least in Polk County, have pushed them to get it out on the floor.
Okay. You're talking about the House. You're talking about Benhoff.
Right.
Okay? The bill is now in the Senate, which is Brubaker.
Brubaker.
Brubaker is head of the Finance Committee.
That's right.
Okay? Now, Brubaker told me 3 months ago, I want this bill out for a vote. Okay? So what I started doing is, it's going to be in the Finance Committee. I want to talk to the people in the Finance Committee. So I talked to Senator Brown. I'm all for this. We need to get this out. I talked to 3 of them. We need to get this out. If I got 3 of them pushing it, I'm fine. Now, I want to go back to Benhoff. Yes, Benhoff was against it. Okay? Benioff and I had an interesting meeting that was supposed to be a half hour long. I spent 2.5 hours with him. In the first half hour, everything his staff was talking about and stating, I gave documents verifying that they were wrong. The last 2 hours, we sat one-on-one. Okay? The agreement I have with Benioff is, this passes the Senate. He wants to meet with me again. He agreed with me on 70% of what I said. Okay? So I believe we could get some movement there. But it's going to take the people. Okay? If I go talk about it, a legislator, no, it's going to take the people writing and calling to get it done. Now, if your House member is on board with this, he said, well, I'm on board. Fine. Call in a favor. You've done favors for other legislators. Find one that's against it and call that card in and have him get on board and pass this. I've talked to legislators about that. In fact, the idea came from a legislator. Okay? Do I believe it's going to pass the Senate? Yes. What's going to happen in the House? I don't know, but the House is going to have a problem if it passes the Senate. What's coming up?
Elections.
Okay? And my feeling is this: get on board, do what's right for the people, or get out of office. Okay?
Just one other thing, and then when the school districts cry to blues with big crocodile tears, it can always be pointed out, they still have $3.5 billion in reserves. That's their savings account, our money.
Yeah. I know we have to get out of here. I'll answer any questions outside. I'll hang around.
Thank you, Rich. Let's give him another hand. Is there a website that folks can go to where they can read HB 76 or read more about it?
76 is actually on the state website. PTCC puts a lot of information on.
And their website is?
PTC, if you type in PTCC, it'll come up.
US?
US, yeah.
Yeah, PTCC, I think, stands for Pennsylvania Taxpayer Cyber
Cyber
Coalition.
Coalition, yeah.
So that their website, ptcc.us, is that correct? Would have more information on that.
The other thing I want to mention is if there's any information that I touched on here that you do want to read, okay, get a hold of Jamie. I will send the information to you. Okay? The more information and knowledge you have, the better off you are. That's how I feel about it. So anybody that wants this information, I will send it to them. Everything that I talked about here, I've documented. Okay?
Right, and it is very, very important that if you are behind this, that you do go home and make the effort to call or visit your legislator, and also call the Republican leadership. Republicans control these committees right now. And Paul Clymer, how many of you are in Paul Clymer's district?
He voted against this before one was up.
Yes.
Well, he is actually a co-sponsor at this time on this bill on
I
HB
don't
76. But that is a good reason that you want to contact him, whether he's a co-sponsor or not.
I did.
Excellent. Well, let's make sure we follow her good example. When I talked to Paul, matter of fact, we invited him to come to this meeting.
He was afraid to come.
Well, he was engaged elsewhere in the meeting, but Paul said that he did not think that the Republican leadership would allow this to go out to the floor. That was his opinion. I said, why? Oh, well, they have a budget to pass, and the governor wants the budget balanced, the budget passed. And I said, Paul, it seems like every time there is actually significant bill out there that would significantly change things in the direction of freedom and limited government, you're too busy in Harrisburg. So please do contact your legislature and contact the Republican
What has
leadership.
Harrisburg gotten done?
The House.
Nothing.
Who is the House leader right now?
Turzai.
Turzai.
Yep.
Turzai. Mike Turzai.
Turzai.
Turzai would be good to contact, and Benninghoff, who would be the head of the finance committee. And you can go right to the state website, you can find out all of the people on that finance committee, you can contact all of them. But without the pressure that the unions make a lot of inroads because they're always banging on the doors of the legislators. They're always there. And when you go up to Harrisburg, as I have, as Sandy has, and ask the legislators, why aren't you moving? They're like, well, we're not hearing anything from your side. We're hearing tons from the other side. It may not be entirely true, but I think it is true that they have very organized efforts to lobby, whereas, you know, sometimes citizens have taken the back seat and not made that effort. So please do pursue that. And we will try to put information on our website that will help you as far as phone numbers. Bill, wherever Bill is Bill here?
Yeah.
Our website guy? Oh, yeah, okay, Bill. Maybe we can put up the phone numbers for Turzai, Benninghoff, and some of the others. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Whose brain? Abby someone. Abby someone. Abby who? Abby normal.